Blab. A couple of my friends are new to Blab, so if you are, welcome. And there is a message thing right on the right side of the screen. And with that, yeah, it's over there. You can send little messages like this one. Hi, everyone. And then also on the left side, you have tweeting. So if you select that, you can tell a little bird what you're doing. And it'll be really cool because it can encourage people to come join the Blab session and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to be talking to you guys about podcasting. I think, Craig, what are we doing? We're going to wait a few minutes?
Yes, yeah, we're going to start recording, so we can wait a couple minutes.
It's real classy of you to start early, man. Really classy.
Yeah, I don't know if I wanted to do headphones tonight. The house is pretty quiet. The dog's sleeping, so I figured I could just do it.
Yep. The girls just got home from dance practice. I had both boys tonight, so I put the boys to bed, and I made vegan nachos, loaded nachos tonight.
How does that work?
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's awesome, man. You just load a bunch of yummy stuff on top of nachos, and it's perfect. So we did not. Yeah. No, I mean, nachos are vegan anyways, you know. But there are some that I guess aren't made with, you know, specifically not made with animal products. But blue chips, you know, those blue ones.
Oh yeah, those are okay.
Yeah. Yep. And so I did a layer of those, and I did a layer of beans. Hi, Viviana. And then I did a layer of tomatoes, avocados, some vegan cheese, cilantro, and green onions.
Nice.
I recorded it all, so it's going to be my post tomorrow.
All right, cool.
What's up, everybody joining in? My name is Cory. I'm from Lean Green Dad. This is Craig. Together, we're hosting this little Blab session, and we're excited to have you here. So we're going to start in just a minute or so, whenever Craig says, because he's the man.
We give it 2 minutes. I see Bob's on, Vivian's on, Lyle's on.
Awesome.
Other people are on.
You ever made the mistake of accidentally clicking the X in a Blab session and it like just ends the session? It's terrible. Don't do it. I've done it before and it's like, oh no. Oh no.
Put my mouse all the way to the right. Hello, Sophia.
Hey, Bob, are you proud of me for this?
He's listening in.
I know he is. There he is. That's the best I could do, buddy.
I was actually with Peter last night.
Oh yeah, in New York or what?
Yeah. He had a gathering of useful thinkers.
Wow.
So he goes, don't think about it, but it actually spells out gout.
No, that's the acronym.
That's the acronym, and he didn't, you know. But it basically was just a nice dinner at Morton's Steakhouse.
How funny! How funny! That's awesome. Yeah, Morton's loves him ever since that one famous tweet that he did.
Yeah. They're like, go downstairs. They're like, oh, he's downstairs. I'm like, okay. They're like, he has his private room. I'm like, private room?
You're kidding me, man. They're smart. That's very smart. If anybody doesn't know the story we're talking about, okay, Peter Shankman runs the Shank Minds group. He is, he's everywhere. I mean, he's incredible. At the very basic, he is the gentleman that created Harrow, Help a Reporter Out, sold it. And now he is on CNN all the time talking about social media. He's a social media specialist, and he runs the Shank Minds group. Yes, Bob put that shankminds.com in there so people want to.
The thing is, he's so humble.
Oh yeah,
he really is. He's so humble. Like, you know, I got invited to the dinner. I'm like, okay, you know, it's cool. Like, a lot of people were there, and he's like, thank you for helping so much with Shank Minds. I'm like, I'm just contributing content. That's all it is, you know. You know, but he was so humble. He had one of the guys there is the voice of the MTA trains.
Oh, what? No way.
He does all the voiceovers for all the trains in New York City. I'm like, and you're friends with him?
Wow, this is my buddy. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and then he had the chief of MTA Transit there. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, he is Mr. New York.
So 901, 902.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's get started. If anyone wants to call in, we have 2 open seats. I'm going to open them up right now. Cory, I made you a co-host also.
Oh, cool. Great. I don't know what that means, but that's awesome.
You have like admin rights like I do.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I wrote down a couple little things, and if you want, I can just kind of start going through my little list. Is that cool?
Yeah, I know you were on last night. I wasn't able to make it, so.
Yeah, right on. So first of all, what's up, everybody? My name's Cory. I am the husband, father of 3 kids under 7, and vegan athlete that runs Lean Green Dad. You can't see it back there; it's kind of blurry, but leangreendad.com is my website. My podcast is Lean Green Dad Radio, and yes, I purposely worn a green shirt just for this blab session. So that's how I roll, and I love podcasting. Podcasting is incredible. It really allows you to connect with your audience on a really special level, a personal level that you can't see in the writing, and that's why I do it. Before I get into this, I've got to say, she's not on the call right now, but Bess Auer is a name that you should definitely check out. Bess, Bessauer. She runs FL BlogCon, and it's one of the largest blogging conferences in the Southeast. She runs Blog Talk TV, which you can also look up as well. I've been a guest on that, and she's just incredible. She's the one that kind of inspired me to start my blog, and then also I was motivated to start my podcast after attending that conference. So I am about 67 episodes in now to Lean Green Dad Radio. It started off as Real Iron Dad Radio because I did the Ironman triathlon and was calling myself Iron Dad for a while. But I recently received a, hey, stop doing that letter from Ironman, and chose to take the high road and just rebrand. So I rebranded. I'm now Lean Green Dad. I love it. But I've got to go back and change 66 podcasts to Lean Green Dad instead of Real Iron Dad. But it is what it is. There's still great episodes, good content, and I love it. So just so you guys know, I did create a webpage for you to check out. So after we're done with this, I will give you that webpage. I don't want you to see the webpage now because then you just read all the notes and leave, you know? But I have it all so we can summarize it and take the information that we're going to be talking about today. So the first thing, all right. So if you're here on this blab, chances are you want to start a podcast or you have been interested in podcasting, but you're not really sure where to start, right? First of all, congratulations. That is awesome. Typically, you have a web presence of some type to go along with your podcast, and that is really, really good. Mine started as a blog in August of 2014, and by November of 2014, I had a podcast. So I had established my website. I had established my, I have my website in WordPress, which is very easy to upload everything to iTunes and Stitcher or whoever else you want to do through plugins, which is wonderful. But I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about was software options, right? So there's a lot of different software options you can use to start a podcast. The first and most basic, I would say, is GarageBand. There's nothing wrong with using GarageBand. It comes standard on Macs, and you can't beat free. So check that out. Another one is Audacity. And again, on the webpage, I'll have all these notes listed for you, which I will give you at the end. Audacity is free, but there is some limitations to Audacity, so something you want to be aware of. Middle of the road software, you're looking at Logic, and that's what I use. I use Logic to edit everything. I record natively to Logic, and I also use Call Record for Skype, which I will talk about in a second. I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you here, but that's what you came for, right? In addition to Pro Tools, there's Digital Performer, there's Ableton, and Cubase. Those are a little bit more high end, so the pros use that kind of stuff. Again, Audacity, GarageBand. If you're just starting out, hey, give them a shot. They're free. How about hardware? Actually, you know what? I don't know, Craig. Do you want to take questions like on the software?
I just wanted to butt in with GarageBand. GarageBand is probably the best platform you could ever use right now, if you have a Mac. If you don't have a Mac, get a Mac. If you can't get a Mac, I would do Audacity. What I've been doing I've been seeing a lot of people doing recording podcasts in Blab, and then ripping the audio from Blab and then ripping it to iTunes or plugging up to iTunes.
Nice. That was my phone. I'm turning that off. Sorry.
Blab is a podcasting platform for all intents purposes. So people are just now, they're just, instead of giving someone a video link, they could just pop in, rip it into GarageBand, then just rip the audio file and then upload it to iTunes.
Nice.
We could take questions. If you type /Q in the bottom right, question will go on the sidebar on the left. You could click open seat. You could join us.
Cool.
But let's also start, like you were saying, about hardware.
Yeah. Okay, so hardware. Yeah, this is the one that's the kind of the most juicy. And I did switch screens, so if it looks like I'm not having eye contact with you or there's a question that pops up, Craig, just let me know. Okay, so there's lots of awesome microphones out there. Obviously, you have to have a microphone, right? But you don't have to have the top of the line microphone. I think if you're really serious about having a good quality podcast, right? Because anybody can start a podcast. I can start a podcast right now and just speak into my computer and it will be perfectly fine, right? But you have to decide what type of quality you want your listeners to have. And right at the beginning when I started mine, I was like, you know what? I want this to be a top-notch, high-quality, good-sounding podcast to listen to on all elements. So I asked a bunch of friends who knew way more than me about podcasting and sound, and I inherited, I'm going to show you this. I inherited this microphone. And this is a $3,000 to $4,000 microphone. I am not saying go out and get that. Again, I inherited it. It is a Neumann U87. It is an awesome mic. Friggin', yes, I will answer that in a second, Bob. Music stars use that to record the albums you hear on the radio, so it's unbelievable. But if you are just starting off, you could get a USB mic. They have a Snowball. There's a Snowball mic that's really good. Again, I'll have links to all these in the notes on the webpage that I'll give you at the end. But this is a SM7B. It is by Shure, and it's a studio mic that you just talk into, obviously, and it's perfect for podcasting. And I just have it on a boom. You can see kind of it's a boom platform, just like that. Got the little feet on the bottom. So I just, speak into it just like that, and hey, everybody, blah, blah, blah. And it works really well. So that microphone is going to cost about $300. And I think that's a pretty good investment. $300 is a lot of money to some people. But again, you have to decide what type of quality you want your podcast to be. So Bob, to answer your question, do I have a mixer? Yes. If you have a microphone that is any kind of fancy microphone or studio microphone, you must have something in the middle between the microphone and your computer to talk to each other. Like the computer won't talk directly to the microphone unless it's a USB mic, right? So I have a mixer. My mixer is the, sorry guys, M-Box. The M-Box. And just to give you an idea, the M-Box is kind of like the Honda Accord of mixers. And I have the Corvette of microphones. So the Corvette of microphones speaking to the Honda mixer isn't really a smart choice, but it still produces a good sound. I should eventually upgrade, but for right now, I'm good to go.
Viviana has a question, actually. I don't know if you could say it.
Yes. Would the Snowball mic be good for on-the-go interviews, or what do you recommend? Yeah, it would be perfect. Bring the Snowball with you. Anytime you interview on the go, it's going to be tough. You need to find a quiet place. You need to find a place that doesn't have a bunch of background noise and just do the interview there. You could also, even if you have a little handheld recorder, you could do that. But the Snowball is going to be good. Typically, you'd want to have two microphones, though, one for the guest and one for you. That would be the best. And then you could record straight to your laptop. Let's go back to my little notes here on the web page. I'm going to give you.
What are your thoughts about for like Blabs just using Apple headphones?
Yeah, that works perfect. I think everybody knows. If you don't, it's okay. But the Apple headphones have little microphones in them, so they're really good quality. They're better than speaking into your computer. Whenever I have a guest come on the show, I always tell them to put their headphones in if they have them. If they don't, it's okay. We'll figure it out. But it just makes them sound better, and I want them to sound as good as possible. So let's take another peek here. So we talked about the Shure SM7B. Does anybody have any other questions about hardware? Any other hardware questions? If you do, phone interviews. Okay. So yeah, let's go back and talk about hardware again. So the way that I record any interview that I do is Call Recorder for Skype. It is a very popular program. It's about $30 and it downloads right to your computer. When you open Skype, there will be a little window that pops up in the corner. So you've got your main Skype window and then a little window in the corner. And that will have the ability to record both sides of the conversation. And then it also comes with software that allows you to split it. So you come out with one movie file from the recording on Skype. Then you can split it into 2 movie files and then split those into AIFF files. And then you can do your mixing, matching, all that kind of stuff. And then the final file that you want to create is an MP3 file, right? An MP3 file is going to be the final file that you want because it's going to maybe compress some things, maybe just it's a finalized file rather than a working file. You don't want to be working with too many MP3s when you're doing your editing and mixing of the podcast, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, Craig? Am I making sense?
Oh, it makes sense.
Okay.
I think a lot of people also probably use when for Skype for that particular scenario. How would you upload it to, I guess, iTunes and Stitcher? So
you need to host your interviews somewhere. After you've edited them, after you've mixed them, you need to host them somewhere. I use Libsyn, and I know that Carrie yesterday, who was on the show, said she also uses Libsyn. Libsyn is great. It speaks directly to iTunes. And after you've done the iTunes submission process, all that kind of stuff, and they approve you, you can start using Libsyn, and you just upload it right to Libsyn. After that, it goes right into iTunes, and it's instantaneously there. All my podcasts drop at about midnight on Tuesday, and they're live on Wednesday morning for your morning dog walk or subway ride or whatever it is. Does that answer that question for you?
Yep, that's good for me. What about Stitcher? Have you used Stitcher in the past?
I don't have a ton of experience with Stitcher, but I need to. Right now, I'm only doing the iTunes thing, but any day I could, upload stuff on Stitcher and be okay. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah, I think, SoundCloud, they're probably going to be shutting down soon. I think a lot of people are doing podcasts on SoundCloud, but now I think Stitcher is going to start picking up steam as a third party compared to iTunes.
Good.
So people are asking now, what's really actually getting bigger is, I was reading today, is podcasts on Amazon because the Echo can do podcasts.
Wow.
Yeah. So Amazon is going to be rolling out their own, I think, features with the Alexa to stream podcasts, but right now it's only through Amazon.
Okay. So it wouldn't take anything from iTunes.
Nothing from iTunes right now. That's the same. That's the two mammoths trying to compete with each other. But
hey, Craig, Viviana asked about SoundCloud. Do you see that down there?
Yeah, SoundCloud is actually recently they've claimed bankruptcy. They've gotten sued from the I forget who it is. They just got sued for. It's not looking good. I would say get your stuff off there and find another place for it. I don't believe in it. I think by next year they're going to be out of business. They'll be bought out probably by like Reverb Nation or Bandcamp or maybe even like Facebook.
Gotcha. Let me go back to my notes here. Okay, so we talked hardware, we talked software. Scripted or free form? Okay, it's interesting, right? Do you script your podcast or do you just speak off the cuff? I have heard so many different types of podcasts, and in the end, you have to do what works best for you. I'm not going to give you a right answer or a wrong answer here. I started off my podcasting career with free form-in it. Hey guys, what's up? It's Cory. How's it going? Thank you so much for being here. Just wanted to get your feedback on a couple things, and I would I would find that I was filling the time with words. I'm not a guy that does or 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 anything like that, but I was filling the time that I was thinking with words, and that wasn't working. So, and I'm overly critical of myself, and my wife is my biggest critic and biggest fan. But of course, she was telling me like, babe, you're filling the time with these words. So, long story short, after listening to lots of podcasts that I'm a fan of, including like This American Life, which is, one of the largest podcasts out there, I loved the way that he sounded, but he did not sound scripted, right? So if you have the ability to read a script and not sound like you're reading, then script your podcast. I script my opening, I script my intro, and I'm now at the point I don't have to script my final thing. So my intro would sound something like this, right? I'll give you a couple samples. So I'll just be like, hey guys, what's up? It's Cory from Lean Green Dad Radio. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I'll give a little teaser. Today we're talking to, I just had No Meat Athlete on, right? Today we're talking to Matt Frazier from No Meat Athlete. And he shares his favorite tip on eating healthy. You're not going to miss this one. Let's do it. Then I have some music. And then after that, I have my kids like do a little intro, like, welcome to Iron Dad or Lean Green Dad Radio. Like, okay, great. And then after that, the intro happens and I say, yay, welcome to the show. And then I have a script of something I say every single time, which is, hey, if you're new to the show, welcome. My name's Cory. I'm a husband, a father of 3, and a vegan athlete. And each week I get to talk to, again, it's scripted. I've got it partially memorized. Each week I talk to the most interesting people I can find to help me stay motivated, to stay fit as a busy parent, make healthy choices, and, cook healthy food. And so my hope is that you'll feel inspired by doing this, blah, blah, blah. So I say that same thing every single time because there's listeners all the time that might not have heard the show. So you welcome people back. Then you say, if you're new to the show, and continue on. Then you have your interview. Then at the end, you close it out. Hey, make sure you follow me on leangreendad.com. At Lean Green Dad is all our socials, and mention them all, and hopefully they'll follow you. Bob had a question, yeah?
Lyle's got and Bob have questions. What I was going to say, actually, so I think scripted, unscripted, depending on the free form and who it is you're talking to, like, a lot of people that, just we'll use Peter as an example, not saying he doesn't have a lot of time on his hands, but, his calendar is pretty booked. For something like that, you want to have it something scripted. You want to have your questions up front. You want to have your follow-up questions up front. If it's just, say, a podcast like this, you want to just have little side notes. You don't really need to have questions ready, but I would say always be prepared. And, a friend of mine just launched a podcast, so you could just say, you record your intro, record your outro, and then just have some standard questions that, you could always include, and then go from there and build off of it.
Yeah, I agree. And, Bob, I just answered it in the messaging there, but you should have your questions standing by. But my biggest thing about having your questions is you have to listen. And so many podcast hosts don't listen to their guests. If that is the number one tip that I can give from this entire, blab, is listen to what your guest is saying. Because in my early podcasting days, I'd be so focused on what the next question was and being ready and not letting them have any downtime, right? That you sound like an idiot because they just said something brilliant and you're like, right, what's your favorite shoe color? And it's like, what? Right. So see where the conversation goes, let it flow, start off with a little bit of small talk. So how's it going? With podcasts, you don't want to be too specific. I mean, you can if you want, like, oh, gee, it's freezing outside, but somebody might hear it in the summer. That's not a huge deal, but I'm just saying, if
you should always have a follow-up question for the question, or a sidebar question. If they answer something, say, oh, it's freezing cold outside, and it does air in December, talk about the weather for a couple minutes.
Yep.
Just be ready for it. But, if you have podcasts that you've done and they're going to say you record in February and it's not going to air till April, there's a lot of things you can't talk about due to the time differential. Like, you can't really talk about future of baseball when baseball season hasn't started yet. I've seen so many podcasts do that. If you're going to have do a session like that, inform the guests we're going to be talking in a future context. You can't mention the Jets losing a game because the game hasn't happened yet. So always be prepared on, is this happening now, and when your podcast is going to air. If it's going to be recorded tonight and then uploaded tomorrow, it's fine. But if it's recorded tonight and they're not going to be up for 6 months, just be careful of that time.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Going back to my notes here. Let's see. So yeah, This American Life. Find the podcast that you love. Finding your voice. We talked about that. Okay. We talked about when you interview a guest. Let's talk about length. Like, how long should they be, right? Some podcasts, I've heard podcasts that are 2 hours long. To my man, Rich Roll, he is an ultra endurance athlete, one of the top 5 podcasts on iTunes. And his podcast can be 2 hours sometimes. I'm like, I love you, Rich, but come on, bro, you know? So, but hey, like I said, he's one of the most popular ones out there. So know your audience, and that will dictate how long your podcast needs to be. Mine are 30, sometimes 45 minutes. And that's because the average car ride, you know, to work is like 30 minutes. And busy parents are my prime audience, busy people in general. So I assume with everything that I put out, they don't even have enough time to listen or read or anything. Right. So my content's short to the point, and my podcasts are short. What do you think about that, Craig?
Yeah, I think 30 minutes is pretty good. I know we're part of the Shank Minds group, so it hits the heart. But I've been listening to here and there's the Gary V Daily V's, so they're about 25 minutes, 30 minutes. I think it's perfect. Just like my ride to work is 25 minutes, so that's perfect. I get in the car, I can get my coffee, stop, do a couple things, and then go to work. And then when I'm pulling into the parking lot, if there's a minute left, I could just say, okay, I'll stay in the parking lot for a minute and just finish up. It was something that actually occurred to me today, and I've been promoting it a lot, is Anchor. So Anchor is, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a podcasting platform. It's like a tweeting / podcasting platform where you could just upload audio. You could talk for 2 minutes, and then people could reply to you in a 1 minute intervals. So it's kind of a new platform, but that really breaks up the conversation. But it's more of a conversation starter than a podcasting platform.
Yeah.
But 2 hours, that's like, ouch. That's like, unless you have multiple guests lined up, even an hour, it's like, okay, how long can you sit on a bus, have someone talking in your ear for an hour?
I know, and I love him too. He's so California. He's so chill. He's like, hey, everybody, welcome to the Rich Roll podcast. But again, he's like one of my freaking heroes. He's a genius.
But the problem with that is also, you get off the bus, right? You get an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes into it. You're going to forget 8 hours later when you get back on the bus where you left off.
Yeah.
And you're not going to start the podcast over again.
Of course.
Then you're going to scroll too far to the right. You're going to scroll to the left. I heard this already. Then you're going to miss a couple parts. 30 minutes is perfect because you can know when you're, even if you're 15 minutes in, that's a solid mark.
Oh, yeah.
Minutes, and then you could just recontinue it.
Hey, let me get Bob's question real quick. So editorial calendar, how long, how far out do you line up guests, all that kind of stuff. So I'm rare in the sense that I like to see kind of what's hot right now, right? I check the Google, words, see what's hot right now, what's trending. And I kind of come up with themes centered around my blog posts and my guests. So for instance, I had like protein week at Lean Green Dad, and I would talk about a protein powder post. I would do a post on when to take protein and all this other stuff about protein, right? So I would have a guest on to speak about protein. How early did I know that I was going to have protein week? Maybe a couple weeks, and I reached out to a guest and said, hey, listen, let's do this. I can tell you right now, I have 2 podcasts in the can, like just standing by, ready to be edited and good to go. And then I have probably 4 other guests booked. So I'm probably a month out as far as booked. And that seems to work for me. What do you think about that?
I think that, and then I think part of it is, you're 4 weeks in advance. That's perfect. And you could always probably, people that you could always say, if someone cancels last minute, you could say, I need an emergency backup. You could always bring a backup in. Or you could just do a show yourself and say, our guest canceled this week. We'll reschedule him, but you could do a meal prep, and it might be hard to meal prep or on a podcast. Be like, so your nachos that you talked about, you know what? I'm going to show you how to prepare nachos over a podcast. It's you always do find an alternate route to have a podcast if your guest cancels, or you could just have someone fill in for that spot for the week. You're booked 4 weeks in advance. That's perfect. You don't have to go reaching in to go get more guests. I think you're
agreed. And I've had a couple cancellations. Things happen. So the worst is like big names, right? So you get a big name, and you're so excited about it. You've done your research, you've done your homework, and then they have to cancel. But you have to just be chill about it, man.
Yeah.
Don't. And then they owe you one, so you're good, right? And then
you're
they
good. You're good. And if you ever see them and say, "Hey, you owe me that podcast," you canceled. Yeah. You could always just say nonchalantly, "Hey, when can you fill the spot?"
Yep.
And you make it up to me. Even if it's someone from one of these, from a company saying, "Hey, I know you canceled this minute meeting. Okay, understood. It always happens to all of us. But when can you fill that spot again for us?"
Right on. I did want to mention doing your homework. Okay. So doing your homework on your guest is like the most respectful thing you can do for your guest, right? So just like Jay Leno interviewing a guest on his show when he had his show, it's like he sees the movie that the guest was in that's coming on, his show. Right. He sees the movie, he can talk about it, he's knowledgeable about it. And the way that I like to honor my guest is by giving them a solid intro. And you could do your intro in post-production, and you should still do an intro in post-production. But there's something to me about introducing the person when they're live on the mic that really sets things off nicely. And it's flattering to them. It shows them you've done your homework. It shows them that you respect them. And it's just a great way to kick off a podcast. And then you kind of get into the small talk. And, I'll tell you 9 times out of 10, when you do an intro for your guest that is just feels good, is so welcoming and honest, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be dumbfounded and be like, thank you so much. I am so glad to be here. Like, totally unexpected, but thank you, And what a great way to start a podcast.
Yeah, it's what you mentioned about the intros, especially if you have sponsorships on your podcast, they want to hear that first. If you have people paying to be on your podcast or promoting a product or promoting a service, you want to do that intro first. Say, we have Cory on from Lean Green Dad, or we have Peter from petershakeman.com. You want to make sure that they're a sponsor of today's host, and go check out their product. That you can give them a bit.ly URL if you have to, or give them a website, a landing page that they can go to, so they can see what the product's about, or a product placement somewhere else in the description of the podcast.
Yep. And for those of you that just joined, what's up? This is Craig. My name's Cory. I run Lean Green Dad Radio. Craig is an app developer and internet genius, among other things. See, I did it. I did it right there. See?
You got me.
I just did it.
Thank you.
What was the other thing I wanted to mention? Okay. If you are trying to launch a podcast and the technical side of things is challenging for you, right? You're like, where do I start? Like, this is great that you want me to record this podcast on my computer and then like submit it to this thing called Libsyn or whatever. But I need someone to hold my hand, right? And that's what I needed. I had to teach myself how to do this. Pat Flynn is amazing, right? So Pat Flynn, PatFlynn, he runs Smart Passive Income. He has a podcast and he has a step-by-step tutorial and video tutorial, totally free. All you have to do is Google that, Pat Flynn, podcasting tutorial. So comprehensive, step-by-step, walks you through everything. And that's what I use to set up my thing.
Yeah, I would say YouTube is a major resource. People forget about it all the time. Just go to YouTube. I hate to say it, I'm going to say it, Reddit. A lot of people still do not give Reddit credit where it's due. There is a podcasting channel on Reddit, and you could just ask technical questions. There are smart people that still use Reddit. Twitter, even though you're still starting a conversation on Twitter, you actually have people to see it. With Reddit, the streaming is a little bit different, and everything is inline responses or outline responses. Go to the Reddit podcasting channel and say, "Hey, I'm new. What can you guys help me with?" They'll point you probably to a YouTube video, but there are a lot of people that are just genuine on Reddit that will help you out. YouTube is probably pretty great, especially, and Apple's help videos are pretty good for uploading their podcast to Apple's store.
I am going to go ahead and give you guys the website right now. I'm going to give you the website that I just.
Hold on, we got a question for you, Cory.
Oh, good. Okay,
how do you recommend naming your podcast? I'm stuck.
Oh man. Well, let's chat it up, man. How do you, what is your thing? What are you doing?
Let me look up Drew's profile.
Drew, why don't you call in, dude?
Yeah,
just call in.
Just click open seat.
And we'll talk about it. Unless you're like wearing your pajamas and you have like zit cream on.
Turn the line on, Drew. Take a seat. Look, I didn't do my hair. I wear a hat.
Oh, I took a shower just for this podcast.
Or I could switch it up. So.
Oh yeah, representing.
Yeah.
Way to go. Good choice. No, I shaved for this too. Look at this. I shaved. Look at this baby face.
I shaved yesterday for Shankin's dinner.
Oh, okay. Well, if you're going to Morton, you got.
Oh yeah. Pin my question. You got it, Bob.
Okay. So, Drew, are you calling in? So you're gonna turn on a light.
Hey, right, so Drew.
There he is. Hey, Drew.
Who? Split broadcaster?
Okay. To enable virtual camera.
That's probably. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yes. Now we can.
All right. Give me 1 second.
All right. Well, while we're doing this, can I give him the website? Is that okay, Craig?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So to see everything that we've talked about today, and again, it's still updating because we're still talking. It is going to be. I created a custom URL for you guys. Hold up. Oh, the anticipation is building. Okay. leangreendad.com/podcasting. Okay. That's where you're going to go. And that will have all of the information that we have talked about thus far. Although I still need to link up the resources. So that'll be there soon, I promise. Craig, can you check that link, or Bob, make sure that works?
It works.
All right. Brilliant.
The only thing I would say is probably link to these websites.
Link to which ones?
Like Pro Tools, Digital Ableton, Cubase.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'll do that.
What we could also do is on this, we could actually just also link to the Blab after it's recorded.
That's perfect.
Let me put Drew back in. It's probably just for taking a seat. What's up, Drew?
Hey, what's up?
Talk to us. What are you trying to do?
Look at that, Drew.
Nice, man. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out. I've been going through racking my brain. I don't know what you guys have talked about. Just tuned in, and you guys seem pretty chill. So I figured I'd throw it out there. I've been racking my brain about trying to figure out a niche topic and something to focus down on, become really precise, and generate a name, I guess, for myself and so on. But I think what I want to do is just be a little bit more broad about it and talk about current events, Deadpool, what that's opening up for in all that kind of stuff, the movies that are going to be coming off from that, the spin-offs that are going to be coming off, and the incident that happened with Taylor Swift at the Grammys, the stuff that's going on with Apple and the FBI, all that stuff.
Pop culture, right? So just kind of pop culture stuff. Have you heard the show Get Up On This?
I have not.
You got to check them out, okay? They're part of a podcasting network, but Get Up On This, and there's Get Up Off This too. So Get Up On This talks about the hottest things that are out right now. Get Up Off This is the things that you should be getting rid of. Dude, that's dead. Don't do that anymore, that kind of thing. But it's pretty crass. They definitely they definitely speak their minds. But I would say, think about what defines you, right? So everybody that just might have tuned in, my name's Cory. I run Lean Green Dad Radio. Craig is an app developer and also just an internet genius. And together we are part of the Shank Minds group, which is led by Peter Shankman. And we're just talking to Drew about starting his podcast, and he wanted to come up with a name. So I think about what you're trying to accomplish, right? What's the overall goal? And if the goal is pop culture, just start brainstorming like crazy. Like just throw words out like what's hot and pop and popular, you know, and then that'll be almost like a word tree kind of thing that you can start associating words with that and other synonyms, and then maybe come up with something clever that is inspiring to you. You know, what are you into? What do you like?
That's another thing. I like my interests are so broad, you know, like from movies to audio engineering. You know, I used to play music for a living. I stream live playing video games. You know, I'm in management. So and then, you know, comic books to, you know, different type of movies to acting. Like I'm all over the place, but everything I've always focused on has always been in entertainment, which has, you know, been able to roll over into my customer service in my actual job, because I like entertaining people and interacting with people and stuff like that. So I haven't been able to actually find a niche topic to like focus on. I actually just recently emailed my mom and had my girlfriend go to her mom's house, and I had her do it. And I was like, write 5 things down that you think that I'm passionate about, and 5 things that you think I'm an expert at. And of course, my mom writes stuff like finding, you know, her things were like, you're really good at being able to not work hard. You're really good at being able to find the easy way out. You know what I mean? Like, that's my mom's way of putting it. And then my girlfriend.
Dude, that's it. That's your name right there. My mom's way of putting it.
Yeah.
my mom said podcast, you know, something like that. I mean, just the mere fact that you talk to your mom about what your podcast is going to be is awesome. I can tell you, I talk to my mom every day, and that's just how it should be. Yeah. But you know, that's awesome, man. That'd be good.
I would even say you mean start off broad, like the Drew Gravely show, you know, or the entertainment show by Drew, or the comic book show. But, you know, I know it's broad, so, you know, you have the Deadpool thing on. So it's like, you know, the Comics by Drew podcast, or movies by Drew, or entertainment by Drew.
Yeah, I was gonna do something broad like that, but then I've been doing a lot of research, and they say, you know, I'm not a celebrity, so it's gonna be harder with a name like that to encourage people to randomly click on the podcast. You know what I mean? So that's a negative thing in my book, to be able to. By the way, can you guys hear me fine?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, okay. You know, but that's a negative thing on my end, to not be able to do that. You know, people won't click on it because of it. And I'm not a very political person, so a lot of the stuff that I have to say is going to be, you know, my which most people listen to podcasts for, my opinion, you know, my way of viewing things, which a lot of people may not agree with or might agree with. But the thing is I want to just make it general enough to make people entertained. That's what I want to do. I don't find myself to be an expert in anything to give people, you know, teach people how to do something. With all the research I've done, I could probably teach you how to podcast and like how to get your equipment set up and how to get all the stuff out there. But I don't find myself an expert in that, and that's really oversaturated. Someone said earlier that let me scroll up real quick. Best podcast seems to be Journey. My thoughts, that it's very crowded space, need to really specialize and develop a niche brand. And that's what I've been scared of just going in on something that's so broad in the entertainment field and stuff like that. Is I'm scared that it is going to be a little bit too broad, and you could literally turn on your local radio station and listen to the same thing.
Dude, here's the thing, okay? You've got to start somewhere. You have to start, and you have to just start putting it out there and see how it goes. Because if you wait until it's perfect, or you wait to find your perfect niche market and all that stuff, you're going to have somebody else come along and create it right in front of you, and then it's going to be over, you know? So just start recording some content, start putting it out there. It's like when I started my blog, it's like, dude, what am I going to write about? Or like, oh, I'll sit here and I'll go, oh, I need to have some inspiration. No. Just like be thinking about things throughout the day, because you know a million ideas fly through your head, right? And record them on your phone. Just like get your phone and speak into it in the Memos app, and then you've got your podcast. You've got your topic. The name will come later, you know, and just record it.
I would say start off with the Drew podcast. Yeah, nobody knows you. You're right, and you're gonna say it's oversaturated. You're right, but if you don't put yourself out there now, it's gonna be too late when you do. 6 months from now, 3 months from now. So start off. Hey, this is the Drew podcast, the Drew G podcast. We're gonna be talking about music, movies, comic books, Deadpool, X-Men, and just go from there. And even if you don't have any guests on, shoot 10, 15, 20 minutes. Think about what, give you a review on Deadpool movie. It's popular right now. It's getting hits from all over the place. Use hashtags on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
To talk about Deadpool 2. It's not until another year and a half to 2 years from now. What are your thoughts? What's the plot line going to be? Start now. Even if you don't have a name, I looked at your website. I looked at your Twitter account. You have content. You're following a lot of people. Get your friends to listen in and say, hey, you know what? I'm recording a podcast. Get them to be a guest. Or say, you know what? I recorded a 10-minute podcast. I'll take you out to lunch. Can you listen for 10 minutes? Don't bribe people, but just say, I need your honest opinion for 10 minutes. What do you think of this podcast? Or, you say you went to your mom, right? Mom, I recorded this last night in my basement or something, right? Leave the room, give it to her, and say, what do you think? Do I talk too fast, too slow? What do you think on, she might not know who Deadpool is, but just say, did you get the gist of it? Did you pick up the content that was needed? Did you get your message across? And then go from there. And every week, record something new. And just go from there.
Well, that's the thing is I already know that I'm going to be recording on Tuesdays weekly, and someone said make sure that it's present, it's relevant to the time,
right.
which kind of sucks because with a weekly show, some of the stuff you talk about happened on Friday, and now it's going to be released on Wednesday, and that kind of stuff, which always worries me too because I know there's so many news outlets, and the internet has made it so easy to be accessible to everyone that everyone kind of saturates every topic. You know what I mean? So it's just being able to add your own spin on it. And someone just said involve them, and it's about creating community too. Like I said, I streamed on Twitch. I was a successful streamer. I have a decent following already before I'm going into podcasting.
Right.
But yeah, I've been kind of nervous because I don't know. I guess the best way to put it is I don't know what, first of all, I'm capable of when it comes to this. I used to just play games all the time, but now I'm going into a whole different thing where I plan on sitting behind a mic for an hour, trying to keep you entertained with no visual aspect or anything like that. And I'm excited about it. I'm really, really excited about it. But at the same time, I'm a little nervous, because, practice and stuff like that will come through. But, I don't look at myself as a very comical guy. I'm intelligent, but I'm not really into politics. I never go too deep into any topic, and so on and so forth. If I start learning about something, I find something in that I want to focus on, like history, I'll find something in history that I want to focus on and I'll go deep into that. But, in an entire topic, look at comic books. I'm a huge comic book fan, but I only like a handful of comics, you know what I mean? So I couldn't go into a nerdy podcast and start talking about all this different stuff because I feel like I would be completely not, I guess, intelligent towards the topic.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I would get started, dude. I think what you need to hear is that you are awesome and you're going to do this and get started, and you are funny. You can be anything you want. Go do it, man. You've got the following. You got the passion. Go do it now.
And what I would say, if you want, Drew, join us on Shank Minds. This Slack group that we have going, it's probably help you out. It's all for entrepreneurs who want to get their start. We'll put out the link to you. Cory and I will tweet you the link. But it might be worth it to, for $50 a month. And, it sounds a little expensive at first, but we've gotten so much, Cory and I have gotten so much out of it in the past 4 weeks. It's changed our lives.
Oh yeah.
What exactly is Shank Minds?
We'll send you the info. It's a mastermind group led by Peter Shankman, who was one of the top 10 tweets in the world in 2011 or something like that. He had one of the top 10 tweets of 2011. He's on CNN all the time. Look him up. Google him, right? Google him.
All right, we'll get back to you, Drew. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Problem.
All right, so Craig, and anybody else that joined in just now, what's going on? My name's Cory. I run Lean Green Dad Radio on iTunes. Craig is an app developer and an internet dude, and together we are part of the Shank Minds group, which is run by Peter Shankman. He is all over CNN, just an internet genius, great guy. And so any other questions, just send them in the messages section there and we can answer them. But I also mentioned the website where we have everything that we're going to be talking about. We'll post that later with the Blab as well. It is very simple to remember. It is leangreendad.com/podcasting. And that's where you can get the notes on everything that we've talked about. Keep in mind that I'm going to have a little bit of work to do after this because the resources section is not even there yet. I need to do that. And I also need to link up a couple things for you guys. But at least the hardware to the microphones that I use and stuff like that is there. So resources, TBD.
We have about 93 viewers, 16 people watching. Does anyone else want to join? I see Irina's here. We got Wesley. We got Lyle Foxman. Viviana, Lewis, see a couple other people.
Viviana, you should call in. Why don't you call in?
I'm trying. I just reached out to Brian Fanzo, iSocial Fans, see if he wants to join us.
I don't know why you're off my screen. I can't see you right now, Craig. I must have X'd you out or something. I can hear you, but I can't see you anymore.
Yeah?
I miss you.
Miss you too.
I don't know. Yeah, but you can see me. It's not fair.
I can see you, yeah.
Oh, well. Oh, no, Bob doesn't hear you. Or Bob doesn't see you. You have to seat yourself again.
I think you have to invite me.
Wait,
hold on.
Bob.
If I hang up, I can't hang up. That's weird.
No one can see you, Craig. It's just me. It's the Cory show. For now. There might be a blab bug. Okay. Well, hey, everybody, it's me. Let me open this. The seat is open, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the seat is open. If anybody wants to call in, you totally can. Craig has a bug right now. We can't see him, but I'm sure he'll patch it himself.
I'm going to try and I don't know if I reload the screen, what happens?
You'll cancel the blab.
Okay, there was that one.
Do not do that. Let me see. Yes. How are you monetizing your podcast is the question. Oh, look, there's Viviana, too. Hey, Viviana, we'll get to you in just a second, okay? I see you. Oh, no. Viviana looks like Craig on my computer. Oh, there she is. Kind of. Wait a minute. I don't know what's going on here. Viviana, I can hear you and see you kind of now.
Good.
There is a bug going on, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Viviana, hang tight. How am I monetizing my podcast, Bob? That is a great question. I monetize through sponsor reads, and I do reads at the beginning of my podcast. What do reads sound like? They sound like I'm endorsing them, which I totally am. I only partner with people that I believe in. One of my main sponsors is Smart Fitness. Smart Fitness is a local gym that focuses on slow movements in order to increase muscle mass, and yeah, they're great. So the read I would write, and then I would just say, "Hey guys, Lean Green Dad Radio is brought to you by Smart Fitness. Hey, listen, if you are sick and tired of spending too much money on an overpriced gym membership, you've got to check out Smart Fitness. They're located in Ocoee, Florida, just a few steps away from Central Florida. So if you're ever here, go check them out, and they'll really help you out. Visit them online at gosmartfitness.com. Blah blah blah." So that's a podcast read that's paid. We could have a whole nother show on that. But all right, Viviana, hit us up. What's up with your questions? Talk to us.
Devices. Is there anything better, like between a Mac or the iPhone or the iPad when you're doing the recording for the either audio or video? Is there a preference? Does it matter?
Craig, that's you, man.
I'm sorry, Viviana. Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
That's okay. No. I got it. So she wants to know what device is best to record on. Mac, iPad. What do you think?
iPad is pretty good. The iPad. I would say don't buy an iPad Pro, but like an iPad 4, you could easily record on. It's got the inputs on it. GarageBand that was just updated recently for the iPad. It's awesome. it's very hard to update on. It's very hard to update, do GarageBand on your iPhone. I would say definitely for an iPad, it's perfect, or on a Mac. But if you want to go the device route, it would definitely probably be an iPad.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right on. Viviana, did we answer your question?
Perfect. Thank you.
Love it. What's up, Roman? How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm great. How are you doing, guys?
Very good. Where are you calling in from?
Russia.
Russia. Wow, that's incredible. So talk to us. You have a podcasting question?
Actually, guys, I would like to listen to you first. I heard what you're recording to Mac or something. I'm sorry, I was just getting to conversation. Just give me like a minute. I lived in Michigan for 6 years, so I don't have really much problem with the English. Okay, just give me a minute to listen. You or just answer my question. Just really I'm your dude, like a college dude. Okay.
You answer your question like you're a college dude.
No. I would be answering your questions like you can answer me questions like if I were your college dude.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Sort of don't be like shy. My English pretty good, not as yours, but I lived 6 years in the United States. Your topic is really interesting to me.
Right on, man. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for calling in. So, Craig, any other things that we need to focus on as far as rounding out this episode? We've got our leangreendad.com/podcasting, which is our kind of resource summary that we're going to be continuing to update and continuing to post about.
Yeah, we'll have we'll post stuff on that podcasting page. We'll have a link to the recorded blab. We'll have that up probably sometime tomorrow. We'll probably put some links to certain items. Cory, I don't know if you have an Amazon affiliate link, or you could probably just link to the products that you use.
Yep.
We could do that. And then I would say you guys have any questions, just shoot us a tweet. I'm at Craig Caruso or at CarusoApps. Cory's at Lean Green Dad. Shoot us a tweet. We're part of Peter Shankmine's group. It's really changed my life in about 4 or 5 weeks. There's about 137 of us as of last night, I believe. The group is growing. Where in this group, in this Slack channel, people are accountable for things. There's a lot to learn. We're all there for each other. We help each other out nonstop. So I would say consider joining us. If you have questions, shoot us a tweet, or even shoot Peter Shankman a tweet.
Right on. Cool, man. So with that, you want to kind of bring things to a close. Roman, check out that URL, that leangreendad.com/podcasting. Make sure that that you check back on that probably in a couple hours or so. We're gonna, not even a couple hours. I don't even know what time it is in Russia right now, but
it's 5:55 in the morning.
In the morning, goodness.
Morning.
Nice, good job, man. You're up early, up and at 'em.
Oh yeah, and I'm very apologize, but where I can find this link that you're talking about, because I'm 1 month in a blog. 1 month.
Yeah, no worries. Here, I'll put it in the chat. Do you see the chat message on the right of your screen?
Yes. I know. I know the rules of the blob. I know whether it's right in chat, but you're saying that. So, okay.
Yeah, if you go there, that'll give you the notes. Just a summary notes from.
It's opening. No problem. Okay. I see that, guys.
And stay posted on that. We're going to post the blab there and a couple other things as well. So.
Guys, thank you. I'm really appreciating.
So, Craig, anything else, my man?
I think we're good.
Awesome. Well, thank you to everyone for tuning in. Craig, you want anybody to find you anywhere? What's your tag? What's your
at Craig Caruso or at CarusoApps on Twitter?
And I am at Lean Green Dad. So we will see you soon. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody, and have a great day.
Bye-bye.